Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be in the world. Today we've got a special guest. We've got Hannah Bauer, all the way from the United States, who, Hannah's an interesting one. I've watched a fair amount of Hannah on YouTube. And what I love about you, Hannah, is your vivacious, your charismatic nature. And I'm sure the impact that you're having for your clients is absolutely massive. Because what you got, we really want to bottle, understand, open the hood, and dive in and find out what is beneath Hannah, what you're all about, what your message is to the world, and how you bring the magic to your clients that you get to serve on a daily basis. So, Hannah Bauer, welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Sunny, for that introduction. So I'm excited and scared. No, get under the vault. I'm battling. No. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for your kind words, and also to Arvid. And pleasure meeting you both, and having thanks for having me here.
So beautiful. So, Hannah, just an open question in a couple of sentences. Let us know a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Well, simple. I help leaders that don't just want to get the thing done, but want to do the right thing and do it right. So to do that, you gotta align people, purpose, and performance. And I deeply and involved in not only helping the leader so that they can be in line and be able to perform to their top level, but really have that fulfillment in life. And same thing with organizations, to where they're not only having talent and doing the thing, but actually getting to get to that vision and be able to be who they want to be. So, and I do that with assessments, I do through coaching, I do it through consulting, and just having those conversations and being able to serve in the way that they want to be served, seeing where they're at, getting them unstuck.
Sorry,
Yeah, he
Hannah,
kind
can
of
you hear me,
froze,
Hannah?
but it happens. So, would you say that you are a coach or a motivator? Because you are talking to leaders, and in my experience, leaders kind of needs, I don't know, both.
I'm a strategist. I would
Okay.
say, yeah. So with a strategist, again, motivation is involved, and but really the motivation comes from inside. I mean, you can't really give motivation to somebody, but you can definitely spark motivation, right? I mean, like with even with hope. Sometimes we think that we have no time for things, but really is because we've lost hope in areas. So as a strategist, I start looking at those areas that you want to see results in, are not quite getting results, if or maybe something that have been put back in the shelf, and we strategize to see, well, where does this fit in? So um I believe when you're in alignment, you're motivated, you're
Yeah,
excited, you do it, you go all out, you go all in, as we say, right? I mean, 100% when you start being in alignment, because there's an ease in the hard work. Because
hmm,
it is hard work. I mean, it's not, we're just gonna say, oh, just everything becomes all this stuff smooth. No, but those times where you encounter the challenges, which we will, the conflicts which are going to come, when you are in alignment and you have a strategy to it, you're able to, you had already forecasted that, so it's not as scary.
that makes perfect sense. So in a coaching sense, is there any, I don't know, coaches out there that you have found inspiration from in the way you do it, or is it self-thought, or
No, well, I love Valerie Burton. She's one of our
yeah?
thought leaders. Yes,
Mm,
I love, because she is raw, and she gives us a really good framework too. I really have admired her as a fellow businesswoman, entrepreneur, who's really created, really, I think, I mean, a whole different lane with positive psychology. And I do believe also in the positive psychology aspect, but again, not just like these concepts, and that's what I like about her, but putting things into place. And I very much can relate with that, because I like to look at the big pictures and be motivated by the developing the future, but also bring it as a tactical next step. And she's one that I see has been able to do that as well.
sounds amazing. When we started, we talked a little bit before we started to record, and we touched up on DISC, and I
Yes.
got the feeling that that's a model you use in your work. Yeah.
It is. I painfully came aware that I needed to use DISC when I was running my company, that I started losing my talent that I had invested a lot in. And actually DISC for me as a business owner and entrepreneur really came as a solution for a problem that later on, once I started getting a hold of this tool, I'm like, well, somebody else has got to hear about it. So I started telling other people, I started training, and then actually that has now become part of one of the main ways that I help other businesses. And that's because it involves the behavioral science along with it. Not only the behavior, but it also gives you somewhat of a window of what got you there, right? I mean, understanding that sometimes under stress, this area is going to express more. This is the way I look at myself, and this is the way I'm being looked at. And I love looking at those graphs because it really is a mixture. Some people might see, hey, the way I'm at work is different than the way I'm at home. And yeah, I mean, there's different. The environment affects impacts the stress, the even the relaxation. And what I like to help leaders with is to create environments where they are able to bring out the best in their people, and also are aware when their environments are going to be stressful, because they are. There's things that there are times that you have to get the thing done, right? In a timeline, where they're going to be able to already forecast and be able to balance out those different behaviors that may come out so that everybody wins at the end.
Just for context, there's a lot of listeners out there that do know what a disc is,
Yeah,
but I'm going to make the assumption that not everyone does. Just
sure.
by default. Can you elaborate a little bit on what a disc test is? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's just like
yeah.
really four things. We really talked about the behavior. Some people you see they're extroverts and introverts, so
Mm,
we take that
yeah.
into the assessment. So people
Mm,
that may be more like, hey, they speak their mind out and it's fine. And some others that are, I just like to observe. Doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. I may just not express it right away. So there you have the difference between the extrovert and the introvert that takes into account. So that would be my D and my I personalities. And the ones that are more introvert are my S and my C personality. D is for dominance, I is for influence, S is for steady, and C is for conscientious. But then there's the other part. You'll see some people are more people oriented, where hey, they're nobody's a stranger. They love everybody. They're all about the people. They're all about making sure the team is well. They want to encourage others. It just is part of them. It's not hard. But then there's others that, hey, no, you know what? I just want to get the thing done, and it's about task. And it's like, hey, they get immediate fulfillment out of making sure those things are done, even having those checklists and making sure it's done correctly. So the difference is acknowledging and honoring those differences, understanding that some people are more people oriented, my I's and my S, my I and my S personality, and more are task oriented, which are the D personality and the C personality. So what this allows me to do is, in a room, understanding, first of all, don't take it personal because a lot of conflict starts with people just taking things personal, but be able to adapt. Because once I
mm.
recognize what's best for, how I communicate, how I might come across, if I'm very much task oriented and I'm aware of that, and I know I'm working with a lot of people oriented team, I need to be able to connect with them first. And it's not going to be connecting on task. They're not going to get excited about my to-do list, but they are going to get excited about getting to know each other at a human level, which needs to be a part of it. So then we can get to the tasks. So and also the other way around for somebody who may be like completely all about people and hey, wants to get to know you for like 20 minutes. And then you're all just in a room full of like, hey, no, we just want to get this thing done. It allows you to adapt better so you can connect on the task but still be able to fill your cup, understand where you're coming in. So it brings both awareness, it brings the ability to adapt and strategize, and also in building teams because we need them all. We don't just have one of these areas. We're a combination of all of them. So when I say I'm a strategist, it's because I like to build teams that are high performing.
Mm.
High performing teams are going to have different balance of communication styles, personalities, and it depends on what it is. If you have a team that needs to do a lot of process, we need to repeat something. You're going to need those personalities that have the S personalities that have the C. You have teams that are heavy on that, whereas a team that needs to be innovating and asking questions, because of where we're going to be, they might need more of your I personality, your D personality, but you still have some C. So you start strategizing on the makeup of your team. And that's how I use this.
Amazing. And you even elaborated a little bit on top of that, because I said something about motivation and then you said, yeah, there's 6 types or
Yes.
something. Yeah. Okay. Will you please continue?
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand that,
Yeah.
one is the behavioral style, right? I mean, the
Mm,
behavior and the communication. I mean, I can't see what you're thinking. I can only see what you do and I can hear what you say. So that's how this helps me. But the motivation, well, it goes into that deeper, right? It goes
mm,
into like the things that I don't see. So some people are motivated by the environment, what we call the aesthetic, right? Some people
mm,
are what we call the philanthropists, or you're altruistic. Some people are motivated by doing the good things. Some people are independent. And I think we briefly talked about that, where what's in it for me? Like the whole independence part. So some people are by justice, the motivation, like they just want global justice. They want to make sure they're highly motivated by that, making sure things are fair. So when you're looking at that, is understanding what is the motivation is going to help you, and we're not just one of those, we're a combination usually of three of those. You have like a top three and a bottom three. Again, it's not because you're completely absent of it. I mean, somebody who's altruistic and philanthropist doesn't mean they don't care about themselves. They just may put more importance as priority on those things. Somebody who's aesthetic, that cares about the environment, doesn't mean that they don't care about justice. It just may mean that they put priority. Like, to them, it's going to matter what the building looks like. To them, it's going to matter what their cards look like, what their website look. That's going to be priority. And it's not a bad thing. It's just what motivates them. So when you're able to understand the motivators for your team, you're able to, again, it's going back to being a strategist and creating those environments. Understanding, well, if I have a salesperson and they're really good at sales and they're also highly aesthetic, guess what? Maybe just giving them freedom in how their office looks like, what their background looks like, is going to make them very happy. And it didn't
yeah.
cost much. It's just, and you're able to increase productivity from that. And it's just giving them freedom on what, even digitally, what it looks like. And is going to get you farther ahead. Somebody who's altruistic, who may be D, is going to be very much about wanting to, like, hey, how is the finances or the company, we're going to make more money so that we can move this cost along, or so that we can create this social thing. So even having those companies that are able to attach like a social cause, is going to speak to that motivator, to
Mm.
that person that's motivated and talent. So again, you're raising the performance, not because you're giving any more pay or because you're giving anything else. It's just because of the things that you're attracting, that talent that is going to immediately motivate them at align with their purpose on what they're doing with the company. So we use the motivators as a way for businesses to attract not only attract the different talent, but also retain the talent that they want, speaking to the inner parts. So those are my two go-to, but also then purpose. You gotta know your purpose. If you don't know your purpose and you don't understand yourself, you're gonna do a lot of things. And this is where I see a lot of my leaders getting burned out,
Mm.
because we're doing a lot of things, but we really want to do the right things, and that goes back to being effective and the fulfillment that we have in life.
In your experience, is there a type of personality leaders should have, or can anyone become a good leader?
Everyone can become a leader. Anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to say something, like, I'll probably the least person to be the leader, honestly. I mean, I didn't have the social skills in a sense, because I don't know if you know a little bit about my story, but for 10 years, I pretty much lived in a bed. 5 years lived in a hospital, isolated from everybody. So technically, I really didn't have even the human skills, which I had to acquire later on. I really had to learn and work on my human skills. That's why I love this. It's like, hey, it taught me to be a better human, to get in touch with my humanness. But I also didn't have, like the experience, the whole tactical part of my world and stuff. So we tend to want to think like, oh, if I had this or if I had that, or I wish I knew this or I wish I knew that. One of the things I realized in being a leader, first of all, the first time I was introduced to leadership was when somebody said that service is leadership. And
Mm.
that was a mind blown moment for me because up to that point, I see at that time I had been even less than a year that I had gotten out of the hospital. So I got out. I got out of the hospital. It was about, like I mentioned, about 5 years I lived there as a teenager. Um, and I didn't know what to do except to mimic what had been done for me. And what had been done for me is that all this I had seen a lot of volunteers, people that just gave their time. And I remember those times in the hospital when people served, when they either playing a puzzle, reading a book, giving me a card. That really meant a lot to me. So when I got out, I didn't know what to do. Outside, of course, going to school. I said, "Well, I wanna do that. I wanna serve. I wanna do that for somebody else." And I did, and I just got into doing it, and then I heard that, like, "Hey, you're a leader if you serve." It's like, "What? I've been doing that? Are you kidding?" Like, so doesn't mean I'm a leader, and it was a really, like, a mind-blown moment for me. I was, um, 17, 18 when I started hearing that, and I that's what I held on to. So, I believe, first of all, as a leader, you serve.
Mm.
You have to serve. So that, yes, if you're saying, can anybody be a leader? Yes, anybody can be a leader. You have to have that attitude of service. And the other part is also the desire, right? I mean, you gotta want it. I see
Mm.
nowadays a lot of leaders even that have accomplished a lot. They don't want to be a leader. Some generationally, some of the young people, well, if that's what leadership looks like, I don't want it. So I think we have this misconception also of what leadership is. And leadership is to be fun. I mean, we all are born to be leaders, starting with leading ourselves. If you can lead yourself, you can help lead other people. I mean, you cannot give what you don't have, but you do have to work on yourself. You do have to lead yourself. You're gonna have to want to do that.
What do you see as the main difference between coaching and giving advice?
Oh, well, giving advice is me telling you what you need to do. Coaching is really bringing out the treasure from inside of you. I believe,
Mm.
and I believe in the coaching industry, the best coaches I see are the ones that really are allowing you're helping the person dig in, get in touch, dig in for that gold. But if you notice overall with what we do, we really just bring to a different level, a dimension, a different level of awareness what's already inside of the person, but it's already inside of them. I mean, and that's the beauty too with humans. That's the beauty with who we are. Um, we don't have to try to be somebody else. We don't have to try to turn what we have, but we really have to allow ourselves. There's many things due to our environment, experience, nurture that have stopped that. I mean, for
Mm.
example, with everybody, kind of curiosity. I mean, I have 5 kids. My youngest one is 5. I know, right? My youngest one is 5.
Yeah.
And I love seeing her curiosity. I mean, I would
Mm.
probably say, like, out of all my kids now, I really have had the opportunity because I also look at with my older ones, right? My older ones are like, no, more reserved and all this stuff, kind of like, and I still see like that conflict because they're still young enough to where there's this conflict, like they just want to be act like little kids that they can't, or they tell themselves that they can't. And I believe this is something where it really, as a strength, is that curiosity. But in coaching, some of those things come out. So, well, why did we stop being curious? Was it because somebody told you to? Was it because you don't feel it's right? What are those do? Are those beliefs working for you? So we start looking into that. I think in coaching, it opens up, it allows a safe arena to be curious about what's going on. Okay, well, what are those beliefs? And how is that belief working for you?
I love your philosophy. Really, it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You're good. When you meet a new client, what is the first thing you look for? What is the first thing you think about, or where do you want to start the process?
Well, why they want to start a process.
Mm.
They'll tell me first. I mean, they usually have a reason. I tell you why do they usually start, either
Mm.
because there's been a transition. So I would like to know, is there a transition? Is there something that is currently impacting? Because many times transition they can be fun and they can be traumatic. So I want to know, are they coming to me because they're looking to seize an opportunity, or are they coming to me because they're looking at navigating a crisis?
Mm.
Or are they looking because they just don't feel like they have a direction at all? So I work best with the people that are either, looking with the crisis, navigating a crisis, those looking at that adaptability, but also those that feel like they're at the brink of something, but yet there's something stopping them where they need to be able to get ready for that. So that's usually why I wanna know from them where are they. So that's important because the way you navigate crisis too. I mean, there's other things, right? A lot of times when you're in crisis, and also actually when you're seeking opportunity, you start there's a sense of loss of self. Where like, who am I? What am I really supposed to do? Is this even the right thing? In crisis, really survival is kicking in, right? I mean, is that the desire to survive, and there's certain things that need to happen for. I mean, there's still the basic needs, the need for safety, the need for housing, the need for the support team. And when you're looking at opportunities, well, there's still those needs, right? Because you still, for innovation, you need to have safety. But maybe it's like, okay, being intentionality becomes a bit more of what we're working on. Hey, well, who do we know? What needs to be done consistently, and what needs to be done intentionally, what's repeatable, in looking at that. And honestly, in both cases, is really going back to purpose, because purpose will tell you also the level of fulfillment. And when you are going through a crisis, that you really have taken some major withdrawals from a lot of things in life. And when you're seeking for opportunities, a lot of excitement, but sometimes that excitement undirected can also be overwhelming and exhausting.
No, but that makes perfect sense. What I was going to ask what kind of changes you were going for, but I kind of feel that you already answered because you spoke about the strategy. Uh,
Yeah.
are you in a position where you feel that you learn something from your clients as well?
Oh, of course. I think that's
Hmm.
with any time we serve. And that's when you're serving one client, when you're serving an organization, or where you go in mission trips and go serve. I believe that if as service providers, if we're not looking to learn from our client, we become stale very quickly. We
Hmm.
must evolve just like our clients are evolving. One of the things I really do enjoy is getting to look at complex problems, right? Like at the big picture. And every time I'm either meet an organization, I get both inspired and challenged, right? Because every organization and every person, there's a vision, there's a purpose,
Hmm.
seeing the story. And really, we tend to underestimate many times the accomplishments that have happened in the past, or even that you're in this position to ask this question. It is a privilege to be in a position to ask these questions. So I'm learning consistently from that.
Have you ever wanted to specialize in one type of industry or one type of segment or one type of business?
Um, Have I wanted to? Yeah, I mean, people
Yeah.
have said that to me all the time, like, "Hey, the riches are in the niches." I've heard that so many times, and I've tried it. But I think what
Mhm.
is funny is that I usually end up talking to a lot of technology people, and I am not techie at all. I can tell you, like, as far as, like, the apps, like, it's a miracle I can even get my stuff working. But I'm able to, I don't know, somehow, and it's because, again, things, acquire skills I either learn out of inspiration or desperation. I had to learn to speak to technical teams,
Yeah.
as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, because it's like if I couldn't speak to that, and all of these different strategies, transformation, to be able to evolve as a business required me to speak to the different systems that create our business. So, in that sense, it wasn't that I intended to work a lot with the tech. the field, but I've ended up training a lot of technical vice presidents
Yeah,
and
but
I do a lot of work in technology. But I think it's more because I'm an interpreter.
mm,
I am able to speak to a lot to the decision makers a lot on the C-suite. I'm able to speak to the leads. So I would say as far as the industries
mm,
that need interpretation because I can talk systems.
mm,
And I serve a lot for that bridge, for that collaboration, in the health system as well. And honestly, the way that is evolved, who I serve is those that are going through disruption. Because when it happens, markets that are going through disruption, I went through that with my own industry in publishing back in the early 2010. Um, and when a market is being disrupted, it's not like, "Oh, well, let's take a look within the market who's working," because we just the business plans are out the window. Compliance things may be happening quicker than you can keep up with. Um, buying patterns from the consumers may have completely even stopped. Even sometimes if you work with government agencies, that money has been stopped. So, um, disruption happens not from just one end, but different places at the same time. So the ability to be able to look at different industries and learn from different industries. Like for example, the media, the song and the industry for us went through that before the print media went through it. So there were
mm.
lessons we could take from that. I believe was even going through technology, even the rapid pace of even the job roles that are changing. I mean, you can look at that even in the transportation, how that industry was impacted in how it's being impacted now. So different types of problems, but at the end of the day, it's like the same type of question. So I'm industry is basically where the crisis is going is where I'm going.
That sounds like sounds like a great business strategy. Well, if you do like disruption, obviously, and you are comfortable working with disruption, and you
Hmm.
see yourself as a strategist, where strategist coach, it
Yeah.
makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
literally.
Well, it wasn't because I like disruption. I mean, my
No,
whole life was disrupted. I couldn't breathe
yeah.
for a long time.
One can argue from a philosophical stand that this is about finding a comfort zone,
Yeah.
good or bad, but comfort zone is still a comfort zone. I know what's happening here. I can manage these
Yeah.
things. I know how this works, and to be able or capable even to utilize that and make it a strength. That's really
Mm.
admirable. Hats off to you for doing a leap like that, because there's a lot of people that would have stayed in bed.
Yes. And you know what? That is a choice, though, and that's the
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
And I think we all have that, and I do believe that it's all in us. I mean, we've evolved. I mean, we're
Hmm.
here. Humans, we're still here. Like that's the thing. The fact that we're all are able to breathe and wake up this morning, and I believe that is part of also my mission in doing that, and because we do help, we do need to empower the leaders. I'm seeing a lot more of the leaders that are burned out. Actually, over 77% of our professionals are reporting a level of burnout. Over half of
Hmm.
our leaders don't feel confident at all with the rapid change with technology. And even that is over 60% of just overall people just no longer trust organizations. So as business owners, as organizations, we have a uphill battle if we don't take our places. And I do see that we can't stay in bed. I know what it's like to do that.
There.
I couldn't. We have to get up. We have to wake up, and we have to own where we're at. I think that's one of the things that we talked about earlier. You're
Hmm.
trying to be somebody else or emulate somebody else, and that doesn't work. I think that's one of the things. It doesn't work. It may work maybe for social media a little bit. People trying to emulate, but it doesn't work at the end. And actually, and it's not just about doing the thing, right? I mean, it's about also enjoying the thing that we're doing. It's about that fulfillment. And
Hmm.
if we're not being fulfilled by what we're doing, what are we doing? I mean, as leaders, you can't expect somebody else to be fulfilled and joyful and engaged if you yourself are not fulfilled, joyful, and engaged. You cannot give what you don't have. And you also wouldn't have the moral right to ask somebody else to do that if you yourself are not intentionally doing that yourself.
But isn't this one of the things that at least Anthony Robbins talks a lot about? You know, the idea that a choice until it's followed by action, it's a pipe dream, basically.
Right.
And uh, that's one of the at least key lessons I learned from his seminars and stuff like that. I've never been to the seminars, but I read the books because everyone should do that. Uh,
It's what we do.
yeah, but you know what I mean. He put coaching on the map, and good. Him and Dale Carnage, arguably,
Mhm.
Carnegie.
Carnegie. Mhm.
Yeah, Carnegie. Those guys were at least pioneers in some way. Uh, this is fun. You are a fun person to talk to. You are. I don't know the English word for it, but you know, sparkling, basically. You're smiling, and you have a beautiful smile. So that's
Thank
nice. Um, how do you know when a client no longer need you?
Oh, well, that's the goal, right? We
Yeah.
want the client to no longer needs us. That and honestly, I mean, just
Yeah.
overall,
Yeah.
we work ourselves out of a job. So how
Mm.
do I know? Well, first of all, they will tell you. I mean, you in a coaching, which is different than mentorship. Coaching is
Yeah.
not supposed to be ongoing forever. So
No.
there's an agreement at the beginning. Like,
Mm.
hey, we're coaching for performance. We're coaching for a specific thing. What is the outcome that you want to have? So how do you know? Because we would have already discussed that at the beginning. We have to also give legs to it, right? What does this look like? Well, I want to be a better person. Well, what does better look like? What does better
Mm.
feel like? And those are metrics that teaching the person who's being coached honestly is one of the best things because they have to know.
Mm.
Um, the one of the best things that we do as coaches is help build that self-efficacy. So they don't need somebody else to tell them, "Hey, you're okay." They can say they're okay. Um, I can tell you, me struggling with my heart disease for years, I
Mm.
heavily depended on all these monitors and all these metrics, right, to
Yeah.
tell me I was okay. And I remember that was one of the hardest things for me was everything was well, right? I mean, I received a surgery that was a groundbreaking surgery in 1992. It became actually it was I was a pioneer in this heart ablation. Um, I didn't know the impact until 20 years later when I got a call from the hospital for the 100-year anniversary, where they told me what happened. But I can tell you from the time that I had gotten the surgery and when everything was in a sense normal or fine, I didn't really know how to tell I was fine because for so long I had lived with everybody. The doctors
Mm.
tell me, "Oh no, you're okay," or "You're gonna live one more day. You're gonna be fine." As a kid, I mean, literally, I'm like expecting on everybody telling me what to expect or what to do.
Mm.
So I know for me, it was a big jump. It was a
Mm.
big deal. And I didn't know how to really understand what well was like. That
Mm.
this is not a I'm feeling ill. This is I'm feeling well. And I think as a coach, that's one of the things that we do too is sometimes we are more aware and we feel the pain, but we
Mm.
really don't know what well feels like. And being able to bring to awareness what that well looks like and bring that awareness consistently to where the person can start telling well that how well they are and even that wellness it wasn't I think anytime in transition, even the restoration time, if you think about it, when you run in a treadmill, after you stop running, you'll immediately feel well. You now
Mm.
wait for your heart to come down. You may even be out of breath. It's a normal response, and you're on your way to wellness. You may
Mm.
not feel completely well until your heart stabilizes. That transition period is teaching and walking and guiding the person so they learn they know that they're on their way to wellness and it's
Mm.
not on the way to, when you're in your treadmill, you're
Yeah.
getting your heart up. And that's how I know when they're able to tell me, how that wellness looks like and that they've had a lot of well moments. And of course, the agreement that we've had before.
And I think this is a nice place to stop. We passed the half an hour mark 5 minutes ago, which is basically where we used to stop, but you had too much interesting things to say. Uh, Hannah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll talk 2 seconds to you before we hang up.
Thank you.